Mom, my mother just texted me. She said I said March 30th. So apparently I'm 2 months behind. It's May 30th.
May 30th, yeah.
So we're going to get started here. We do want to thank our sponsors before we get rolling. Of course, Onslow County Motor Company. Right. Ben Beasley and the gang. They sponsor our racing report. They got us live here today. We got Billy Bowles for them. That Helen's Kitchen is brought. And it's just going to be a good time out here. We also want to thank our other sponsors, National Dodge, Chrysler Jeep Ram. The Jacksonville Ospreys. Big game tomorrow night. We're going to be covering that game. We're going to talk about that a little bit more here shortly. CNS Paint, Ron Choate and Victor Case. Golden Corral, Billy Sewell. Rock Creek Golf and Country Club. Rick Morton is the club pro out there. Probably the most deserving or one of the top deserving people in Onslow County that needs to be in the Jacksonville Onslow Sports Commission Hall of Fame that ain't already in it.
No question about that.
Don't you agree?
Oh, sure I do.
Have you followed him some in some of his senior tournaments he's played in, the senior PGA?
A couple of them. I went out there, as a matter of fact, I went out there about a month ago and followed him and his son around about 4 or 5 holes, just to get a feel for the golf course.
Were they playing or just riding around?
No, they were playing.
They can stroke it now, can't they?
They really can.
Yeah, Rick can hit the ball, and his son Riley can too. Riley still does lessons. Riley is one of the few people that can give you a golf lesson and then turn around and give you a guitar lesson.
Yeah, sing to you.
Yeah, sing to you. Probably singing lessons. I don't know if you can give singing lessons, but you can give guitar lessons too. We also want to thank Jones Onslow EMC, your Touchtone Energy Cooperative. Jones LP Gas, located in Verona. Of course, today is Friday, and you know what that means?
$11 to get your tank filled up.
$11.
5 o'clock today.
Or you can go somewhere else and pay $20 to $30 if you get a tank. Yeah. Or you can go to Jones LP Gas in Verona and pay $11 on Friday.
Got to thank Chris Hollywood, man. He's ready, ain't he?
Man, he is.
He's doing it.
He's like a bee in a beehive around here getting stuff ready. He is awesome. Best man in the business.
Yep.
And I don't say that lightly. He's the best man in the business. He can get it rolling. He's took in about 10 minutes and turned us into a full production studio. And I know we're on the air because Mom's already corrected me for something I said wrong.
I've never heard it.
Tooken. He's tooken it and made it into a studio. Our next one up is, of course, Southern Touch Painting, Roger Carroll and the gang. Fountain Management, Miss Sandra Fountain. Onslow County Motor Company, of course, Ben Beasley and the gang. Barnes Diamond Gallery, and they've all disappeared. They're all radio shy. I didn't think Ben was radio shy. We'll have to get him back on here in a minute.
He'll be here.
Barnes Diamond Gallery, that's, of course, Lindsay Jarman and her fabulous staff there. Lane Associates Family Dentistry, Doctors Tommy and Kim Morgan. Bartley Insurance Services, Bill Mercer. Humphrey Heating and Air Conditioning. They can get you up and running with your air conditioner this season. And thanks again to Helen's Kitchen and Billy Grissett for feeding us and the Sports Talk crew today. We got Billy Bowles, their sausage, egg, grits, and cheese. And then they got ham, egg, grits, and cheese, and bacon, egg, grits, and cheese. Good stuff.
It is.
Yes? Oh, hello, YouTube and Facebook. Well, I was getting to that. You gonna got me a script? I'm ready. Our Hurricane Watch is powered by Downey Heating and Air Conditioning. Jason Humphrey and the gang. Hurricane Watch. Hurricane season is officially over.
Yep. And
another one gets ready to start. The bad one, but the good one just ended. We'll talk about that coming up. It was a very good year, but we'll talk more about that during our Hurricane Watch. Racing Report is powered, of course, by the place we're at now, Onslow County Motor Company, Ben Beasley and the gang. If you want to stop by, I'll make this deal with you. The first person that stops by off the street that's heard this commercial, we will sell you one of the finest used automobiles in Onslow County if you'll stop by and say you heard it on the air. How's that for a deal? You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Wave to the YouTube world. And our channel is at WSME Radio, and you can watch us live and view tons of previews and shows and podcasts from the past. You can also watch us live or follow us on Facebook at Freedom 97.1 WSME. And, of course, you can listen online and live at our website, WSME971.com. They have archived audio podcasts, a lot of the old shows, some of the really great interviews we've done over the years, some of the great interviews Coach Padgett did, preceding it. And, of course, my favorite way to listen is the radio. 97.1 FM. I love my radio.
Who won the Charlotte race last week?
We ain't there yet. That's our racing report. We'll get there.
Okay.
Stay with me. And of course our studio hotline, which we won't use that today because we're out in the field. We don't have we don't have that long phone cord to get here from the station. So
who won the Indianapolis 500?
That's in our racing report today. It'll be coming up. I promise you. And actually on the Indy 500, I'm gonna have to look because I can tell you the other one, but we'll look when it gets time for the race report. A horse, a big old horse.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, one that won the Preakness was a descendant of Secretariat.
So was the one that won the Kentucky Derby.
And so will be the one that wins the Belmont Stakes. Isn't
Right.
that the next one?
Yeah, I don't know whether may have a horse come in that's not kin to Secretariat.
Wouldn't that be crazy if that was the horse that won?
Oh yeah, I think it's going to be between Sovereignty and Journalism.
So if there's, I don't know much about horse betting. I know you can bet to win, place, show,
Yep.
top three, the trifecta, whatever they call it.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a bet you can do where all you bet is the top two finishers in any order, Sovereignty, was it Sovereignty and Journalism?
Sovereignty won the Derby and Journalism won the Preakness.
That'd probably be a good bet though.
Yeah.
Although I imagine the odds are going to be, heavily against that bet.
It's the longest race of all of them, almost a mile and a half. So,
Well, speaking of pedigreed racehorses, we have one that has just joined us, buddy. Ben Beasley.
Yeah.
I mean, when you talk about
Good morning.
when you talk about selling cars, you are the top pedigree out there.
Well, I've outlasted them. I've lived long enough.
You've been selling cars. What started? It started right after the war, right?
Yeah.
Civil War, right?
Civil War,
Yeah,
that's
y'all
right.
started selling, the chariots and stuff, and then you moved up to cars. But you've been selling them a long time in Onslow County.
Well, at 45 years, you're supposed to learn something.
That's
You
true.
know?
Have you been right here at the same location the whole time?
No.
Where'd you first start at?
Oh, South Carolina.
Oh,
Drummondville.
that's where the PD roots come from.
Yes, sir.
A lot of people don't know what PD means.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people think it's something else, but it's the PD River area.
That's right.
Now, is that the area you were in?
I was in the Black River area.
Black River, not the PD.
Right.
All right. Well, we're going to talk let's talk about it right now. Clemson Tigers
They're tough, ain't they?
hosting a regional, aren't they?
They got the brakes beat off of them by North Carolina.
Well, that game got
Baseball?
away early.
Yeah.
Sometimes baseball can turn like that quick.
Yeah.
Sometimes a game that should have been closer, just starts getting out of control, and but they are hosting a regional, right?
Yes, sir.
Who's in their regional? Do you know off the top of your head? If not, what?
Upstate South Carolina, Kentucky, and West Virginia.
Is East Carolina still in it?
Yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
get to them too.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're in a regional too.
But they're in the coastal Carolina.
Yeah, they're
region.
actually in
That's-
South Carolina regional too.
I got
They out of Myrtle Beach there.
So while you brought it up, the Coastal Carolina regional is going to have Coastal Carolina Chanticleers and Chickens.
Yep.
They're going to have the East Carolina Pirates,
Florida. Gators.
Florida Gators, and Fairfield. Okay.
Yep.
And then, of course, the Tar Heels are hosting a regional too in Chapel Hill. Let's go back to the Clemson regional. Can you pull that up for me?
Yeah, man.
All right. Clemson is the host, so that means down yonder they'll be actually having a lot of revenue. I visited beautiful Conway, South Carolina yesterday, which is the home of Coastal Carolina, and the traffic was off the hook. I think people had already arrived a day early for that baseball tournament.
All right, so you got Clemson, you got USC, Upstate, Kentucky, and West Virginia.
Well, you know Clemson baseball better than anybody here, certainly. Do they normally play USC Upstate?
They did.
That's part of their normal schedule.
Yep.
See, that's the thing I like about college baseball. In football, you only have a certain number of games. You can, you can't play every in-state team. Basketball, you might can play a few more, but in baseball, a lot of times it's all of them playing each other. Like UNCW will play State, Carolina, East Carolina. Same thing with Clemson. I know. Do they play South Carolina during the regular year?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a
They
normal
have
part of the schedule.
they have a 3-game deal with them. They play one at Clemson, one at South Carolina, and one at a neutral field.
Okay, I think that's kind of like what Carolina and ECU do. They'll play one at each, and then they'll play at Durham Athletic Park. So that's a great deal. And that's the good thing about baseball is you have so many more games where you can play with like that. So who do you think is going to win that regional? That's a dumb question, isn't it?
Well, let's hope so.
Who's the top number 2 team, or who's the number 2 seed?
Number 2 seed in there is West Virginia.
Okay, and Kentucky's no slouch either in baseball.
No.
To be honest with you, I'm tired of hearing SEC on everything. Ain't you?
Yeah. The one that in the ACC tournament that shocked me was Wake Forest. I thought they were going to produce better than they did.
And they still got in the tournament though.
Yeah,
They're not home certainly, but
they got put in the Tennessee bracket.
So they get to be the one the goalposts get thrown in the river over if they had goalposts.
Yes, sir.
Maybe they'll throw the foul poles when they win. You think they'll do that?
Oh, who knows?
I've never heard of a foul pole getting torn down like they do goalposts.
Right.
So that all kicks off today, and we're lucky to have Ben with us today. You know why?
Why?
I already heard that he was done fishing for tickets to that Clemson regional, and he found some.
Oh yeah.
$200 a piece for standing room only.
Standing room only, $264.
Woo.
Come get you some.
That's how much them college baseball tickets are going for in the regionals.
I'm too old to stand for about 6 hours.
It'd be televised, won't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, while you love to see Clemson host the regional, obviously, because that means they've had a great season, would you have loved for them to be in either like the coastal regional, or if East Carolina was hosting one, to be closer by to go see them?
Sure.
Oh, yes, sir.
And
man.
plus, too, I think you'd be more accessible tickets.
Yeah.
You could probably be able to get some tickets to the coastal regional easier than you can Clemson. Man, Clemson tickets go quick. And obviously, $264 for standing room only, that's all that's left.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty hot.
And there was 2 of those.
Just 2?
Yeah.
That's all that was left?
That's all that was left.
Wow. Well, next year we'll have to try and use our press passes and see if we can't get in something.
Yep.
So, Ashley, you ever been to a college baseball game before?
Yeah.
Which ones?
East Carolina.
East Carolina. They got a great atmosphere there now.
They do.
To be honest with you, they got the jungle out in the outfield. You've been there before too, Ben.
Yep.
I liked it better when it was the informal jungle. They just kind of milled around out there, and it was just like sitting in the tree limbs and stuff. Now they made it, a little fancier. They got seats and stuff like that. So
Figured out how to make a little money with
they
it.
made money off of
Yeah.
it. Them tree limbs don't pay as much as bleachers do.
That's right.
But speaking of upgrading facilities, you've been to Coastal before, I'm sure you've been.
Yeah.
You remember when Coastal Carolina's always had a decent baseball program, and they used to play at the minor league park down there. I think the Myrtle Beach Pelicans for years. And then back when we were at school at UNCW, that's where they played. Then they did that crazy thing and they won a national championship. Who would have thought that year? I can only imagine if you'd have been able to put down money on Coastal at the start of the year to win the national championship that year, probably 10,000 to 1
Or more.
or more. Yeah. Crazy. But they had that great team that came together, that little scrappy team, won the national championship. Now look at their stadium now. You've seen it now.
Oh, yeah.
With the boardwalk in the outfield.
Oh,
In the outfield, they've got a raised boardwalk about fence level. It looks like you're down at Myrtle Beach. It's amazing. We need to go to a game down there sometime.
Yeah.
See if you can pull some strings, Ashley, and get us some Coastal tickets for
You're
over
the
the
string,
weekend.
man.
I'm the
You're
string man.
You put it together, we'll go, buddy.
Well, anything else you want to cover
So who's your dark horse here?
in the whole tournament?
Well, in each bracket.
All right. Let's go to the first one. Vanderbilt's the #1 seed, right?
Yep.
Are they the #1 overall seed, or is it Tennessee?
I think they're on one side. They're the #1, and Texas is the other one. Isn't it?
Texas is the other.
I'm going
Well,
with Texas.
a lot of people are questioning the seedings because the last baseball poll came out, and of course, the way Carolina performed in the ACC tournament, they actually are the number one ranking in the country, but then they're the 5th seed in the tournament.
Yeah.
So baseball's a little different.
Yeah.
I mean, in basketball, obviously, they'd have probably been the top seed overall, and all that means is if you're going to super regionals, who would be the one that hosted?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that is a big deal, but right now it doesn't mean a whole lot.
No.
Let me pull up them top seeds again. The thing you just had.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, that right there. So Clemson, they would have to have an upset to probably host a super regional, wouldn't they? Or not?
No. If they win, they'll host a super regional.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking of when they get further down, they're playing actually against the top teams each other. So they should get a super regional then.
Should.
As long as they win, take care of business. And I don't see in that bracket, I see them winning that regional. Let's go by bracket, and I'll give you my pick for each one. All right, first of all, for the Vanderbilt bracket, you got Vandy, probably. Based on that competition, Louisville's the only one I see with a chance against them, but I think Vandy's probably going to win that one.
Yeah.
All right, then you got the Southern Miss bracket. I never count out the Miami Hurricanes when it comes to college baseball.
No.
It wouldn't surprise me to see them pull off that one, but it could be Southern Miss or the Hurricanes. Florida State regional. They didn't play that great against Carolina either, did they?
No.
They did not look real overly impressive, but could you see Mississippi State possibly raising up there? How about Northeastern?
Yeah, they're
Now,
not bad.
granted, they're in the CAA, which isn't the Colonial Athletic Association, or it's the Coastal, but they were the top dog in it all year and just wore everybody out in the CAA tournament. So it wouldn't surprise me to see them make some noise in it. What you think about the next one?
Oregon
State, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oregon State, you think them? And TCU's probably
next in line there.
now in that bracket. There's a team in there that has won the most NCAA baseball championships. Do you know which one it is?
Texas.
No, in that bracket with Oregon State.
Southern Cal.
Southern Cal. I mean, they won one as far as I know in years,
Yeah.
but for some reason they're the ones that won it most over the years. Now the North Carolina regional in Chapel Hill. You got North Carolina playing Holy Cross, then Nebraska and Oklahoma. I think Carolina will probably take care of business in that bracket.
I'm pretty sure. Carolina's stacked, buddy.
Oh yeah, they got some launchers. Some of those home runs in that Clemson game,
Sure.
it looked like batting practice.
Yes,
I mean, they were just teeing off and why. It's not my thing. What about you?
It's it's showboating. That's what we called it back in our day. But
Showboating back in the day, you usually got a pitch right on your hip.
Yeah.
Next time you were up,
or you got set on the bench.
Or if your coach was like that, some of them old school coaches would park you for that.
But look, these guys, they've adjusted the balls, they've adjusted the bats to try to keep the home runs down and stuff like that. And these kids are just so athletic. They're muscled up. They're big. They're just a totally different player than what we were back in my day. I mean, we thought we were in shape. These kids are just, they're unreal.
And this is the generation coming through now in college that's played it all their lives.
Right.
Yeah.
Not all their lives, but all year long. A lot of them didn't play any other sports.
Getting started earlier, getting organized earlier, training and whole 9 yards. That's in every sport now.
In the fall, when most kids their size and talent will be playing football or something like that, these kids are in Pigeon Forge playing at the Cal Ripken Experience in a tournament or something.
We were cropping tobacco.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
We were having to work.
Right.
But now that's the way it is, and so they live, breathe, eat, die football or baseball. But the thing is, now you hear of kids getting the Tommy John surgery or younger players in their career just to get it.
Yeah.
So they can go ahead and get that injury out of the equation.
And about every house in the country's got a basketball goal in the backyard.
Oh yeah.
It's the things that they like to do. Now, so we're talking more about the showmanship and the unsportsmanlike conduct. I remember back in the day when if that bat left your hand, other than laying it down, are we getting ready for break? All right, sorry. We don't have our siren, and I got to face my guests. So just whack me on the back of the head. We're going to take our first break. We'll be right back at the Onslow County Motor Company. Hey, welcome back to Sports Talk. I'm your host, Chris Raynor. It's Friday, May 30th. Co-host Ashley Mosley with us today. Welcome, Ashley.
Thank you, buddy.
Also, co-host. Your co-host status now. Once you've been on more than once, you get co-host status.
Good.
Ben Beasley at Onslow County Motor Company. We got
we're on the front porch,
our
man.
title
It's beautiful.
sponsor. And we're on the front pizer here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ben knows what a pizer
Nice
is.
breeze.
On the pizer with a little breeze. The sun ain't kicking us. You're our title sponsor for our racing report. We really appreciate y'all doing that.
Yeah, man.
If anybody can tell us about racing, it's Ben Beasley. We're going to jump into that in a minute. But Ben, the song that led us in was "I Can't Drive 55" by Sammy Hagar. Great song.
It's hard to do.
Hard to beat. Which car out there right now could get to 55 the quickest?
Probably a Kia.
That Mercedes?
How big is the hill?
Which one out there is your race car?
Ooh, I don't have one. I try to stay out of the racing business.
Yeah, but that Mercedes will get it on it. It'll probably pick up and go on it.
It'll do pretty good. Yeah.
I drove a Mini Cooper back for you one time, and buddy, that thing would fly. Of course, it didn't weigh but about 100 pounds, sopping wet.
Yeah.
How did he get that up? I'm not even going to ask. I don't want to know.
Turbos.
Them turbos, yeah. What is the engine in a Mini Cooper? 4-cylinder?
Yeah.
So turbo on a 4-cylinder. Well, let's jump into the big dog cars. I assume they're still running V8s in NASCAR, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You remember back in the day when the Busch Series would run the V6s.
Mm-hmm.
And on Saturday, they sound like bumblebees.
Yeah.
On Sundays, it sounded like a freight train coming.
Yes,
so
sir.
a whole different sound. This past week, with Charlotte, we got some little controversy going on in NASCAR. There's a lot of unhappy old-time fans that switched on their cable this past Sunday night to watch the race, and they saw nothing because it was on Amazon Prime. What you think about all that? I've heard people that said the coverage was great.
Once people figure out how to get it on the television and all that stuff, it's pretty easy. But just to, old people don't like change.
And that's me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially men.
Yeah.
But once you figure out how simple it is, then it's not bad at all.
Yeah. I'll sit down and I got my cable thing. I'll press one button and it turns the TV and the cable on. I go to my channel.
Have you got a cable box or you strictly internet in your TVs now?
I do both.
Do? Okay.
Yeah.
But either way, or you can go to the streaming and it's right there.
Yeah.
When I got to go to Amazon Prime, I got to go to this and I got to go to that and I got to get another remote and I got to go find my aux and then I got to scroll through them streaming services and it's just, I'm old.
So you don't have a smart TV?
I do, but I'm dumb.
Okay. Well, I got a smartphone and I'm dumb.
See, I can find it quicker on my phone. I got an actual app on my phone, so we're too quicker. But the results from Charlotte, the guy that led the most laps was William Byron, and he ended up finishing number 2, which happens from time to time.
Oh yeah.
And now, do you enjoy the stages that they do now, or had you rather they go back to the old days of just running to the finish?
Well, it gives NASCAR an opportunity to get them bunched back up again, and that's when it gets exciting for the fans.
Yeah.
So, they all get new tires, gas, they line up, they get together. Normally there's a wreck involved. So that keeps the fans involved. So I think it's pretty good.
Now, in the old days, of course, the way to bunch them back up was the wrecks.
Oh, yeah.
Because after a wreck, they'd start them back off like they do. Yeah. And I actually used to know my daddy was one of them. If he couldn't watch the race live, he'd record it. Mm-hmm. And what he would do is just start fast forward until he saw smoke.
That's right.
Which that means somebody was in the wall and it was a wreck, and that's when he would back it up a little and watch.
You mean they have breaks in these races now?
They do. Yeah. They're stages.
Stages. Yeah.
Most of them are like 3 stages, I think, aren't they?
Yeah.
So Charlotte was the first one to be on Amazon Prime, and a lot of people didn't like that. Now, a lot of people really don't like what happens in Charlotte in the fall. You know what I'm talking about?
The Roval.
The Roval. It's just hard for me to picture Charlotte not being, run hard and turn left. Yeah. And I know it's a whole different animal, but for years, road courses were kind of looked down on in NASCAR to start with. They only had 2 of them back in the day, Watkins Glen and Sonoma.
Yeah.
Or old Sears Point used to be, the old one. But it got to where I'm sorry. Sometimes funny things just you see it in America,
especially when you're outside.
If only we could turn the camera.
I wish I'd took a picture of that.
But it's just the road courses are not well thought of, and they've turned Charlotte into a roval, which means they run about half the oval, and then they start zipping through town through the middle of Charlotte Motor Speedway. So let's get on with our NASCAR report. Ross Chastain ended up passing Byron at the end. Tell us how he accomplished that feat. Obviously, he went faster, but
He had newer tires. So, you know, the longer you run, the tires get wore out and slick. And so Byron couldn't hold the corners as good as Chastain, and he ran him down and passed him.
Yep. And so many times you'll get one like that late in the race that gets the new tires and starts. Yeah. It's kind of a balancing act late in the race. Do you want to come in and lose track position, especially if you only got a couple of laps left? And one of the best finishes I ever saw was, you know what I'm talking about, at Darlington that year, where they were battling right at the end and ended up being like a couple of inches at the finish. Ricky something or another, that pasty white dude. What was his name? Ricky. I know. You know what I'm talking about. And right at the very end, what happened was the guy that had the better tires was coming on. They started getting together right at the finish. It just looked like something out of Days of Thunder.
Well, let me ask you a question. How does those Indy cars hold traction? Because the tires ain't got no tread on them.
Because they're a wing.
A what?
They're wings. All they are is a wing with a motor. And actually, the
wing on the front and the back.
Yeah. The NASCAR cars don't have tread on them.
They don't?
No. On a track that's dry, you don't want tread. Okay. Because them tires stick better. There's nothing to break up the stickiness. Okay. You get a little moisture, and it's a whole different story entirely.
New ride.
Yeah.
New ride.
And for years, they talked about, instead of having rain delays in NASCAR, just going ahead and switching to tires with treads and do that, but it didn't work. It wasn't a good thing. I think in IndyCar and like Formula One, you'll see them racing in the rain, and you see the rooster tails going. They just switch to treads. But the race we were talking about, Ross Chastain ended up passing him at the end, and winning the race. And Byron in a Chevrolet had led the most laps, but finished second. Ross Chastain was also in a Chevrolet.
Yep.
Chase Briscoe in a Toyota finished third. AJ Allmendinger, there's a name from the past. I ain't heard from him in a while.
Old Dinger.
He had they had a commercial about him one time. It's called AJ Allmendinger Burgers, Fries, and Chicken Fingers.
Yeah.
And then Brad Keselowski in a Ford, rounded out the top five.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Chase Elliott finished sixth. Of course, Bill Elliott's son. That's still his main claim to fame. He's a good driver, but I think still the name recognition is the main thing carrying him right now. William Byron led the points coming into the race, and even when he doesn't win, he's usually in the top 2 or 3. So obviously he's still the points leader. Kyle Larson second in the points. Christopher Bell third. Chase Elliott up to fourth, and Tyler Reddick fifth in the points. Now let's switch gears to the Indy cars. You brought that up, Ashley. The Indy race. You got the results there?
Yes.
Brandon's daddy. Ben.
Yeah.
Tell us about it. Worse. I'll tell it. Let's see. I got it right here too. All right. Alex Palou. Is that the best we know?
Palou, yeah.
And Chip Ganassi Racing. Now, Ganassi was in NASCAR for a long time. I don't know if he still is or not.
No, he's not.
He was for years. Then you got David Malukas in the number 4 AJ Foyt Enterprises car. Is AJ Foyt still with us? Or did he pass?
Yes. Yeah, he's here.
He's still alive?
Yeah.
Okay. You talk about an iconic driver named Foyt. Him Foyt's buddy, AJ Foyt, was tough.
And he's still around.
Yeah. Still getting it.
He's about 90 years old, isn't he?
Yeah, they had pictures of him at Indy.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then you got Pato O'Ward, finished third in the Aaron McLaren SP number 5. Felix, that's a good one. Rosenqvist, I don't know, and Santino Ferrucci. I'm guessing Rosenqvist and Ferrucci aren't from around here.
I'm thinking.
They're probably not North Carolina.
The only fellow finished second there, the runner-up guy, was Marcus Erickson. He was probably closer to us than any of them.
Probably. True that. Now,
and he was leading the race and got past there with a lap and a half or 2 laps to go.
Now, you talk about a big track. That's the Indianapolis. You ever been to Indy before?
Have not, no.
Have you, Ashley?
No.
I think we need to do a road trip there because I'm getting ready to show you something that's going to blow your mind. All right, right here is a picture of the Indy 500. They can't see it on TV. It's a picture of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Yeah.
See how big that joker is? There's some golf holes in there somewhere, aren't there?
Well, there's a couple of racetracks. Racetrack.
Let me show you this, though. This is every Big Ten college football stadium would fit inside the Indy 500.
That's unreal.
Every one of them with stands and everything, not just the field. Every one of them. You see the outline of the Indy 500 around it?
Yep.
That's amazing, isn't it? It's that big.
It's huge.
I'd love to go one time. It's a spectacle now. It's such a spectacle that they normally, like most NASCAR tracks, will have seats all around the outside, especially in the heyday. They'd fill them all.
Well, they had
Indy has seats.
150,000 people this year.
Indy has seats on the inside where all you can see is the front stretch when they come by. That's how many people they got.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a big time deal. It's right up there with the Kentucky Derby as far as just a spectacle.
And
so maybe we can work that out for next year.
And
You'll do that?
Penske owns
See if we
that.
get some press passes.
And Penske owns that, right?
He owns Indy.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
I think so.
I know he owned Rocky and may still own it. Got to take a break. We're going to take our next break. We'll be right back with our Hurricane Watch right here at Onslow County Motor Company. Hey, welcome back to Sports Talk. I'm your host, Chris Raynor. Friday, May the 30th. I said March 30th earlier, but my mom texted me and corrected me. So it's May 30th. We're here with Ben Beasley at Onslow County Motor Company. Getting ready to head into our hurricane watch. Co-host Ashley Mosley with us today. Thank y'all for being with us. It's ironic that as one hurricane season ends, another begins. The bad ones getting ready to begin. We don't want nothing to do with that stuff this year. We hope
June 1st.
We hope that Sahara dust, June 1st. Hope that Sahara dust stays like it is, because right now there's, according to the weather people, that's what's keeping. Somebody's listening out there riding by.
Yeah.
The Sahara dust is keeping the hurricanes away for a little while. What's keeping the Carolina Hurricanes away is the Florida Panthers, unfortunately. Florida was pretty stout. They just got a more physical team, bigger team.
They didn't sweep them, did they?
No. It was close.
Yeah.
Florida jumped out to a 3-0 lead, and the first three games were not even competitive. They won 5-2, 5-0, and we had our hurricane watch last week. They were only down 2-0. Well, they went down 3-0 following Saturday. This past Saturday, lost 6-2 to the Florida Panthers. Then the Canes went down to Florida looking for a soul to steal, and they got in a bind. They were waiting. No, I'm sorry. Ended up winning 3-0 in Florida. Florida had 2 or 3 guys out in that game, but the Canes played a lot more physical style. 3-0, so it made the series 3-1. Well, this past Wednesday, I got to go to Lenovo Center and watch the Canes play. Man, did you see the game, Ben?
No.
Jumped all over them. Sebastian Aho with 2 goals in the first period, 2-0. That place was rolling. If you ain't never been to a playoff game there, we got to schedule that for next year, because it was just unbelievable. The atmosphere. Canes were rolling. Looked like it was going to be 3-2 in a whole new series. Then Florida scored 3 goals within about 4 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Just poured it on. A lot more physical, getting to the net. It's like, say you're playing with your grandson in basketball. Right. You're going to out physically. Yeah. Then say he tags out and Shaquille O'Neal comes in with you.
That's a big game.
That's the difference there. They're just way more physical, bigger team. I think the Hurricanes are looking at probably upgrading some in the offseason. They did get a dude from the Russian league that was finally eligible now.
Did he play this?
Nikishin. He played towards the end, but just a handful of games in the playoffs. He'll be with them full time next year, and he's an enforcer. He's one of those like the brothers in Slap Shop, the 3 brothers that like the Hanson brothers that like to rough people up. So the Canes lost 5-3, played well. Actually came back and tied it up 3-3 late in the game. And you know how it is in hockey. After you take the lead, sometimes when you pull the goalie, you get an empty netter. So the score isn't always indicative of the game. So the Canes played really well, had a great season, because to be honest with you, at the start of the season, they weren't projected to make the playoffs. And lost some of their top dollar talent to free agency, didn't get a lot in return. They made some moves at the middle of the year, were competitive all year, but at one time they had the second best record in the entire NHL. But this was a team that wasn't even supposed to make the playoffs. But you know how that goes. You go from a team not supposed to make the playoffs. Once you make the playoffs and are looking good, then everybody wants you to win the Stanley Cup.
Oh, yeah.
So it goes from people saying, we're just happy to make the playoffs, to all of a sudden we're disappointed because we didn't win the Stanley Cup. But this team, to make the Eastern Conference Finals, they did a great job, I think. And, of course, our Hurricane Watch is powered by Downey's Heating and Air Conditioning. Jason Humphrey in the game. Jason's a big Caniac. So, Canes are on the shelf until September. That's when hockey season will start back. It won't be long.
Gosh.
I know. They don't have much of an off season. I guess when you got an indoor rink with ice, you can play as much as you want. It's not like you're waiting on the weather.
They play 9 months.
Yep, roughly.
God.
Well, NBA basketball is about the same. It's got to where the NFL season's gotten longer and longer. You go from August to February?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so not quite as long. Baseball for years had the knock of being the longest one. They start in around April 1st and end in October. So I would say hockey and basketball are probably the 2 longest.
I want to talk about basketball a little bit, Raynor. This is a sports talk show. What's going on with the NBA?
We do need to take a break real quick. We need to take a break right after. Thanks again to Downey's Heating and Air for sponsoring our Hurricane Watch. We'll be right back on Sports Talk, and we'll lead into basketball. Right back up. And then LeBron James is flicking up the chin and acts it's going to be close to her coming back for that game. If you're right about when they can come back.
Right, I wish you get the T-ball long ways, can't you? I wish you get the T-ball long ways.
T-ball?
Right.
Oh, yeah. Take a T-ball off the bat, the little thing off.
Right.
Hit that one too. Hit it like I used to. Back, turn like I used to. Like that one, a bunch of them. Like, you know, it's called. I didn't have one over there. We're going to hit the longest. A bunch of them. This hurts a lot. Now, see somebody like John Daly who's doing the flexible stuff. It hurts my turn. Rose is the one that comes up a lot of times in the greatest of all time. And I'm a spider off that, too. One more thing. Pete Rose now has been declared reinstated and can, even though he's passed away, and is eligible for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
If you were his family and they told you, would you tell him to go stick it, or would you let him be inducted into the Hall of Fame?
Well, I think he's said before he passed that if they wouldn't let him in when he was living, he didn't want to get in.
Yep, and I've heard that before too.
Well, Shoeless Joe Jackson is now eligible too.
Yeah, and that's a lot further back. But like with Pete Rose, they could have done this while he was alive.
Yeah,
you know.
Sure. I mean, come on, man.
It wouldn't bother me if the family told him just to stick their Hall of Fame.
He gambled on his own team. I mean, he bet on his own players, and he didn't do like the Jackson Board did back in whenever
didn't throw the World Series. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, he definitely deserves to be there. But I just could see the family saying, "Nah, if you couldn't do it while he was alive, just don't worry about it." He knows he's supposed to be there.
Yep,
that's right.
All right, Ben, we got the next one, 1952 there.
1952 Indianapolis 500. Troy Ruttman at 22 years, 80 days set a record for the youngest 500 winner in history. His Kuzma Offenhauser is the last dirt track car to win at Indy.
So they were still racing on the dirt back then.
Yeah.
Ruttman, of course, you remember the NASCAR name, Joe Ruttman.
Yep.
You reckon Joe's a descendant of Troy?
Maybe.
Wouldn't surprise me. Once racing's in the family, it usually sticks around.
Yep.
All right, well, moving on to 1953, this date in sports history, May 30th, 1953. First Major League Network baseball game, the Cleveland, whoever, I don't know if they're the Indians back then or not, but Cleveland beat Chicago 7-2. Now, there is a move on, and I don't know how valid it is, but I've seen it in a lot of places, to rename them the Indians. Have you heard that? And they say it's actually, gaining some traction.
Going back to the Redskins.
Redskins. Yeah. Now, the Redskins, I think, are still going to be the Commanders, but they're thinking about adding, what is it called? Like adding the Redskins logo somehow to the Commanders thing. They're going to kind of be like a hybrid.
Huh.
That's what I've heard. So hopefully it'll pass, or hopefully it'll happen. All right. I had that one. So it's you, Ashley.
All right. 1956. Mickey Mantle misses by 18 inches, hitting the first home run out of Yankee Stadium in the first game of a doubleheader against the Washington Senators.
Ooh, that had to be an eyewitness account back then. Nowadays, they got telemetry on that thing, buddy.
Yes,
they can tell exactly how far it went, how fast it was leaving, how high it went.
And exactly how many inches it was.
Yeah. And back then, they just had to guesstimate 18 inches, I assume. All right, Ben.
1964. I was 2 years old then. Indianapolis 500. A.J. Foyt wins, but race primarily remembered for a fiery 7-car accident resulted in the deaths of Eddie Sox and Dave McDonald. Last race won by a front-engine roadster.
Man, that's terrible. And you always hear that, drivers talk about that's the thing they fear most in racing. You've had some crashes as a result of impact. Obviously, Dale Earnhardt, he died because of impact with the wall. But that fire is the thing they always, fear. Yep. You had a big fire in the Indy 500 this year.
Yep.
Remember, right there on pit road, a fuel cell didn't rupture, but they spilled enough fuel to where once it caught fire, and you had the main fuel man, I think, walked away unscathed, didn't he? Because they got a triple liner on them, is what they call it.
I was sitting there watching it. The fella shooting the daggone fire extinguisher, shooting him right in the face. I was like, Lord, if the fire don't burn him up, they're gonna kill him,
drown him, puncture his retinas. Yeah. But I reckon that they got everything put out and everybody's okay as far as I heard.
Yeah, he was fine.
All right, in 1967, Yankee Whitey Ford. There's a baseball name, buddy. Whitey Ford, nearing 41, announces his retirement from baseball. Nowadays, I don't think he'd be able to be. Well, never mind. Go ahead. All right, you, Ashley.
All right, 1970, baseball all-star voting is returned to the fans. I think they should do that with the Hall of Fame induction.
Yeah. You talk about getting and when you got the majority of the fans, the majority of what the fans vote was, you would have, in my opinion, the most qualified Hall of Fame candidates. That's a great idea. Yeah. Maybe do that at least one of the positions each year is the fan vote. That's a great idea. All right.
1971, Willie Mays hits his 638th home run, sets his National League record of 1,950 runs scored.
And his nickname was?
Hey.
The Say Hey
Kid,
Kid, yeah.
He
Willie
just passed
Mays.
away probably 6 months ago.
But I mean, obviously a great hitter, but he was most known for that catch.
Yeah.
Over his shoulder, the Willie Mays type catch. All right, in 1983, AL President Lee McPhail suspends Yankees owner George Steinbrenner for 1 week for his public criticism of umpires. Nowadays, that's a every week thing now. All right, Ashley.
My God, where are we at? Let me
1985.
see. 1985, Stanley Cup Final, Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton, Alberta. The Edmonton Oilers take back-to-back titles. They beat the Philadelphia Flyers 8-3 for a 4-1 series victory. Wayne Gretzky and Yari Curry each post a goal and 3 assists.
Now, Ashley knows his stuff, but to know that it was Yari Curry, to pronounce it that way, you're a man. He got Wah last week, too. Instead of Patrick Wah, instead of Roy. You know, a lot of people looking at it. We need to get Marisa Reeder on here reading some of these names because, buddy, we love her to death, but she don't know her sports a lot, and she can come up with some good ones.
Well, these names, some of them tough.
Oh, you're right. That
Offenheiser.
All
right, Ben.
All right, 1987, Mike Tyson beats Pinklin Thomas by TKO in round number 6 in Las Vegas to retain the WBC, WBA heavyweight boxing titles.
You know, we talk about the greatest of all time in sports and greatest boxer. Usually, the greatest boxer will come down between, well, Joe Louis is in there some too, but usually it's between Muhammad Ali and Tyson. And in my opinion, their careers are very similar to the golf GOATs. Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods. You had Tyson for a period of time was possibly the most dominant, but he didn't span the period of time like Ali did. Same thing. You had Tiger most dominant for a short period of time, or not a short period of time, but for a certain period of time. But Nicklaus had the longer duration. You know what I mean? Yeah. What's your opinion on GOAT and golf, Ben? Between those two, obviously, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, there's been some good ones. You know, it's the equipment's changed, the game's changed, the athletes have changed. I mean, it's hard to. It's like I was saying earlier, me playing baseball in the 70s versus the kids you're looking at today.
Well, same thing with what Ashley was talking about earlier about Jack Nicklaus using the same 3-wood for 30 years.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Can you imagine Jack Nicklaus, though, with today's equipment in his prime?
Oh, God, yeah.
He'd be stroking it. He'd be 400 yards off the tee.
Yeah.
He had a long drive with him old wooden
Yeah,
woods.
you know, we all know the story of Tiger getting outside the game of golf, the automobile injuries and that sort of thing, you know, set him back. I mean, his lifestyle, I think, maybe played a little bit of role in him not breaking Jack's major victories.
Sure.
I think so.
Yep.
It's all about the duration sometimes.
It's all about the choices you make.
That's exactly right.
Speaking of choices, what's your choice for the GOAT and golf? Between those two, Nicklaus or Woods, you think?
You know, in my era, I would have to say Woods, you know. When he was on his game, he was hard to beat, so was Nicklaus.
Yeah.
I'd love to be able to play with either one of them.
Oh, yeah. I'd love to have a round.
You know, Tiger, he won one golf tournament, one major, but like 15 strokes.
Yeah.
I think it was the U.S. Open. It was and it was a Masters also where he won by a lot.
But then again, Jack finished second 19 times.
No, more than that.
Was it?
It was in the 20s.
Really?
Yeah.
So not only 18 majors, but second like 20 sometimes, and third another 20 sometimes.
Yeah.
So he was always right there in his area. You know, that's a lot of years.
If
ifs and bolts were but if ifs and buts were bolts
easy
and
now,
nuts.
don't get carried away.
Sorry. If ifs and buts were bolts and nuts, we'd all be screwed.
FCC maybe listen to you.
They won't say nothing about that. All right, finish it up with golf, by the way. And by the way, golf's getting ready to head to the U.S. Open in a couple of weeks.
Right.
2 weeks from
Oakmont, Pennsylvania, I think.
Yep, Oakmont, Pennsylvania. And next weekend, we want to mention on the basketball thing, you have the rivalry renewed. You have Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese will be playing. If Caitlin Clark's back from her injury, next Saturday you'll have the Sky playing the Fever, and and you got to face it. That's brought the WNBA to the forefront.
No question about it.
I mean, those two, you know, their rivalry, especially that last game where they got in a little dust up.
Yeah,
it's always entertaining when you have a fight. It'll bring you know, the eyes to your sport.
Yep.
All right, last one on our This Day in Sports. In 2010 Senior PGA Championship, Colorado Golf Club, Tom Lehman wins by the first of his 3 Champions Tour major titles with a par on the first hole of a playoff with Fred Couples and David Frost. Now, Fred Couples was always one of my favorite golfers.
Me too.
He looked like he was swinging the golf club sitting in his recliner.
Yeah.
He just had that natural flow swing, but man, they called him Boom Boom because he could put it out there, buddy.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of golf,
He's a different individual though when that camera ain't on him. I've been around him a couple times.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's
is he not a happy person?
Well,
he's not
I
friendly.
remember one time he hit a ball in the ditch along the side of the fairway. You know, we were walking up to it. The man said, "It hit that lady right there." He said, "I don't give a blanket a blank blank who it hit." He said he never answers the telephone because maybe somebody on the other end of it.
Well, I'm glad he ain't the one I called and talked to you about a week ago. I got a friend of mine that hooked me up with Curtis Strange.
Yeah.
A good buddy of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Got me his number. I called and talked to him. He was doing the U.S. or the PGA
Masters.
Championship. He was doing the Masters the first time I talked to him, but he wants to. They got a golf tournament coming up that's going to help the hospice of Carteret County that he's helping fundraise.
Good.
As he's going to come on, at least call in or something and talk a little golf with us about that coming up.
Good.
So
Yeah,
hopefully the next
he's
couple
a
of
nice
weeks we'll
fella.
get him. Yeah, he lives
He
right
is.
here in Morehead City,
Nice fella.
He
or
is
has a
nice.
house in
A
Morehead
lot of
City.
people don't realize he got a twin brother.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, got Alan Strange. Yeah,
That's strange.
it is. Yes.
All right. Well, that's our this day in sports history. What we're going to talk about? We had some. Oh, I do want to get something out before we go. I talked with Ellie Patino. Obviously, the Ospreys were covering the big game tomorrow night,
Broadcast from WSME tomorrow night.
and I talked with Ellie Patino, and he's got some tickets for us to give away as our trivia question. Here's our trivia question. As simple as it's going to be. What
phone number are they going to call?
They're going to text my phone number 910-389-6146. You want them to call yours?
No.
Okay.
Probably gonna have some stalkers now.
I don't care. I mean, that's what we're here for, is to
That's
serve
right.
the public.
That's
If they want to stalk me, then somebody else is free, that they're not
That's
stalking.
right.
910-3 ain't like I ain't giving out the number before trying to get free tickets. 910-389-6146. If you're the first one to text in and tell us who, there are 5 North Carolina teams. Isn't it 5 in the College World Series?
Yes.
Okay, there are 5 North Carolina teams in the College World Series. If you can tell us 2 of the 5, that's all you got to do. It's that easy. 2 of the 5 teams in the College World Series from the state of North Carolina this year are the college baseball playoffs. It's not the World Series yet. 2 of those 5 teams, if you'll text me at 910-389-6146, we'll hook you up with some tickets, and I'll get them to you today.
Slow.
I'll get them to you today for the Ospreys home opener tomorrow night at the Osprey Nest.
Number again, slow.
910-389-6146.
Got that. Right. 389-6146.
And
61,
also,
46.
if you have tickets to the Clemson Regional that you're willing to give me and Ben, we'll take those too if you'll text me at that number.
Yeah.
And
910-389-6146. If you can name 2 of the 5 teams from North Carolina in the college playoffs.
also tomorrow is open house at Walton's Distillery from 12 to 5.
Yeah, I saw that.
There'll be free food, beverages, music, entertainment. So go out to 261 Ben Williams Road and visit Walton's Distillery tomorrow during their open house.
See, that is why this man is one of the best in the business. He knew that stuff off the top of his head. I had to make a screenshot. 261 Ben Williams Road. It's right near that old tree on Ben Williams Road that blew down during Hurricane Hazel, if you know where that's at.
Right there where the old liquor store used to be.
Because that stump right there is where they started making the moonshine.
That's right.
So open house tomorrow, Saturday, May 31st, between 12 and 5 p.m. Free tour, food, and music, and they do have tastings too. All right, and we were talking about our Ospreys. Hey, Sports Talks, Chris Raynor, that's me. Inviting you to catch the excitement of baseball with the Jacksonville Ospreys Summer Collegiate Baseball Team as we broadcast their first, that was a big gust, their first home game live at Jack Amiette Park. Wasn't my phone on top of that when it blew over?
The Wood Bat
Just
League.
went right away.
Gates open at 5:30 and game starts at 7.
Yep, be right here tonight or tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Bring your family and friends for a heck of a good time. Tickets are $10 at the gate, $5 for 4 to 12-year-old kids, and kids 3 and under are free. It's the Jacksonville Ospreys tomorrow night at 7 p.m., and you can hear it only on Freedom 97.1 WSME.
A lot of family fun. That's a nice place out there.
Yes, it is.
And sponsoring our broadcast will be National Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram, Golden Corral, and the law offices of John Drew Warlick. So make sure you check out the Ospreys tomorrow night in person. And if you want to do the coolest thing out there is come to the game in person with your headphones on and listen to our broadcast too.
That's right.
So we'll have it on,
A lot
on
of
the
people
air.
do that.
Ashley's going to be out there with me tomorrow, right,
Yep.
Ashley? So we'll
Looking forward to it.
We'll be serving
Hollywood
it up for
will be
you.
there.
Hollywood will be there. What else in the wide world of sports we want to talk about?
Preakness. I mean, the Belmont Stakes.
Tell us about the
coming.
Belmont. You're the horse racing expert.
Well, let me see. Sovereignty won the Kentucky Derby. Journalism won the Preakness. Sovereignty didn't run in the Preakness, which surprised me because I had a chance to maybe win the Triple Crown. Both of them are related to Secretariat. The Belmont Stakes is June the 7th, I believe, and it's the longest race of all of them. Is almost a mile and a half, I think, and it was a small field in the Preakness. Only 7 horses ran. Journalism ran, but I think Journalism and Sovereignty, one of those 2 horses probably went to Belmont. Of course, anything can happen. I mean, you'll get a ringer come in, hadn't ran in 6, 7 months, get him in there, and he may have just one good day and run him down. But that Journalism really impressed me last week. What he had to do to win the
wasn't it real muddy?
Huh?
Wasn't it real muddy?
That was the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, that's the Derby.
Okay.
And it had 20-some horses in it. But this horse, he got jammed up, Journalism did, between 2 horses. And the jockeys actually got to elbowing each other.
Right.
But he got out of that jam, and he just run the other horse down. I mean,
Wow.
So I think he may have the speed late in the race to win, but who knows?
And
That's the reason to gamble on it.
Ben, you're talking about the race with the mud. That was the Kentucky Derby.
Yep.
And that horse that won it was a mutter.
Yeah.
And his mudder was a mutter.
Yeah, and there was a
His
mutter
father,
from another mutter.
His father was a mutter.
Right.
So what's the date again on the Belmont Stakes?
June 7th, I think.
June 7th. So next Saturday.
Next Saturday, right.
Not this Saturday, but Saturday week.
Right.
So there's a lot coming up. You can watch the Belmont Stakes. Watch
U.S. Open.
Watch Caitlin and Angel fight it out that Saturday night, and then the following weekend watch the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
So some good stuff coming up in sports. It's kind of the period between basketball season finally finishing up, if the NBA finally finishes up, and then hockey season's finished. You got the long baseball run through the summer, which is really cool if you were like actually in the town. Like say you lived in Chicago neighborhood near Wrigley, to be able to go to a game anytime you want to. But otherwise, watching on TV, it's a long season, isn't it?
It'll be a lot of fun to Mark Osprey game too. Come on.
Oh, it will. And then, of course, foosball season's going to be starting up.
August.
What do you think of the Panthers this year, Ben?
I think they're going to be pretty good.
They made some good changes. I could see them being around 500 this year.
Yeah.
First year with all the they got a ton of draft picks in this year. David Tepper finally figured out that if you don't sell your farm for magic beans,
Bryce
for
Young,
one
the
pick.
quarterback, right on.
Yeah. And he's doing a lot better. He had a
Has
good
he grown any?
No.
Can't grow any. No. But there was a stat on there. There was about 7 things that we gave the Chicago Bears and other teams for Bryce Young to get him and move up in the draft to get him. He just was not that type player to me to move up that far. A Peyton Manning or something would be the one you might mortgage the farm for, but he's doing a lot better, and I look forward to him having a breakout year this year. I sure hope he does. Check out that paint job, Ben.
Yeah, man.
I used to have a Ford F-150 like that same color.
Young's too small, man. I mean, he's one lick from being out for the season.
I agree, man.
I agree with you.
That's why I don't think you see them running him a lot because even though he's mobile, he's
tiny.
He's one of them headhunters away from taking him out.
Yeah, and they're out there.
Oh yeah.
And even when the lick on him last year, the problem the first part of the season was those outs that they would run. Even when he didn't have an obstruction of linemen and stuff, he was still missing some of the receivers.
Yeah.
So hopefully, the flyover's here late. Thanks to our flyover provided by the United States Marine Corps.
Now here's another
B-22
thing.
Osprey.
I don't know if you listened to the recruited in college football for the last 10 years or so. Alabama's always been number one.
Uh-huh.
I think this year in recruiting in football, Alabama wasn't even in the top 10.
Yeah.
So what's changed there?
Well, Saban left.
That
And
has
the
a little bit to do
NIL.
with it.
NIL transfer portal, all that stuff has changed to where the teams that are hitting that hard are the ones that are getting the people now.
Right.
Yeah.
It is something. Would you ever thought you'd have seen where they recruit other players already playing before they started recruiting kids out of high school?
That's crazy. Yeah.
Their focus now is on the established players. The other ones are great.
Well, they've already passed one test, so to speak. If they've been recruited by another team already, they see some ability there. So they're just probably, saving time and money by going through the portal for somebody.
Yeah.
But when you see some of these numbers out there, some of the stories between COVID giving them the extra years. The NIL and the transfer portal, you're seeing kids play in 8 years.
That guy East Carolina guy, he's going on 40.
Yeah. I've heard that Chris Winky's actually trying to come back and get an extra year eligibility.
Look at the money they make. I mean, not in go professional. You know, get the money and keep your health. And not getting hurt.
You remember when it blew everybody's mind, Chris Winky, the Florida State player, he went and played
he won a Heisman Trophy.
But went and played in the minor leagues and then come back. So he was like 24 playing in, and that blew everybody's mind. Now you got guys playing till they're almost 30 in college. It's crazy.
I got 4 years of eligibility left. You reckon they'd buy it from me?
Probably. I don't know. Well, you got kids that stay home, living at home till they're 25, 26, 27 years old.
Oh, yeah. We made home too nice for them.
Can go by.
When we were growing up, home was a nice place and they took care of us, but you were ushered out the door when it was time.
You're an old bird to kick them out of the nest.
Now we've made home too nice for them. They don't want to leave.
Oh, yeah.
So what else want to talk about sports-wise? We got just a couple more minutes.
Thank you, Chris Hollywood Man.
Thank you, Hollywood Man. Want to mention our stuff coming up again this weekend. We got the Walton's taste testing and food and music and all that tomorrow. Between 12 and 5, open house. 261 Ben Williams Road. I've learned the address now.
There you go.
Go out and check them out. And then, of course, our huge thing tomorrow night, Jacksonville Ospreys inaugural game. Weather permitting. I haven't looked at the forecast, but I know this evening, I'm glad it's not tonight because tonight's not going to be good. Hollywood's giving us a panorama of the vehicles you can purchase out there.
Right.
And if you'll pan back to your left, that gray Ford F-150, if the price is right, me and Mr. Ben will work something out since we showed it live here. That's a pretty truck, isn't it?
It is a pretty truck.
We have a blue Honda right out here in front that I'm sure if the price was right.
Right. Yes, we got a black Lexus.
And show them the white F-150 out there. That's the one right there, buddy. That'd be my pick of the litter. And you know me, I'm a fat boy. I don't need something I got to fall into anyway. But that right there is a nice truck.
She's pretty.
The only prettier truck on the lot is that Avalanche right there.
It's not for sale. Something else we can talk about, right? When's the Big Rock Blue Marlin tournament going to be?
It starts June the 7th, I believe.
All right.
Yep. I think it maybe before the ladies tournament starts on that Saturday, and then the Big Rock starts the following Monday.
Are you fishing this year?
Nah, Brandon will fish and I'll work.
I got you.
That's a pretty good schedule, huh?
Turn around, don't you?
You guys have fished in it for years, haven't you?
Yes. Yeah.
You want to tell us a little of the history over the years of it?
I hadn't fished in the last 3 or 4 years, but Brandon fishes.
You won one year, didn't you?
2010.
2000. Okay, 2000. That's when the man brought a fish up here and dumped him in the ocean. Weighed about
11 pounds. Yeah.
He's been dead for a while.
Oh, Lord.
They're serious about that fishing, ain't they, buddy?
Some fella named Ernest Hemingway showed up with a big old fish from somewhere else and tried to win the tournament, didn't he?
Yeah.
But that's a big event.
It is.
I mean, it's if you've never been, you need to go to a weigh-in and see the fish.
Oh, it's cool.
It's really.
Michael Jordan probably there.
Michael Jordan will probably
that boat
there.
will be there now. Yeah. Michael, you see the big boat, and a lot of people are saying, well, man, how long did it take him to get down here? Michael Jordan didn't ride down here on that boat.
No.
That airplane lands at Beaufort Airfield.
That's
and,
right.
Helicopter.
You can see the airplane out there, too. So you can get a view of both of those monstrosities. If it was me, I'd be living right there on that boat. That thing is nice. But
it's
he's got more means than I got.
That's a big event. I think it's the third largest tournament on the East Coast. Third or fourth,
about
one
2
of those.
weeks out.
You know, a lot of money, a lot of people. Really good time, but it's a great time to take your kids down and watch them weigh the fish in and see all of the.
Eastern North Carolina is a nice place to be, isn't it?
It is. It's a great place to be.
It's a beaut, Clark. Well, I think that about winds us up unless y'all got any other topics. Ashley, you are the sponsor, man. I'm going to let you do our sponsors. How about that? He knows these sponsors intimately, if you know what I mean. Like he's been dealing with it for years and knows all the circumstances.
Couldn't do it without these guys, no question about it. First of all, thank Chris Hollywood, man, for putting this stuff together. Raynor, you too, buddy, for what you do. Made a big difference in our listenership with the Sports Talk, and we appreciate it, buddy. Brought to you by National Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram, the Jacksonville Ospreys, CNS Paint, our friends over there, Ron Schote and Victor Case, home of Pittsburgh Paints, Golden Corral. Thank you, Billy, with a location in Greenville on Greenville Boulevard and right here on Marine Boulevard in Jacksonville. Rock Creek Golf and Country Club, once again, we're going to give a little plug for our buddy out there, Ricky, to be in the Ricky Morton to be in the Jacksonville Onslow Sports Hall of Fame. Jones Onslow EMC, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative. Thank you, Crystal Phillips. Jones LP Gas, located in Verona. Remember today till 5 o'clock, you can get that LP gas tank filled up for just $11. Southern Touch Painting, Roger Carroll. I see his trucks all up and down the coast from Wilmington to Morehead City. So
And
you know he's
everywhere,
a busy guy everywhere.
buddy.
Yeah. Fountain Management. Thank you, Sandra and Lisa. Onslow County Motor Company. Thank you, Ben and Brandon and Cherry and Travis, Jack Thornton and Dave and anybody else I left out. Nice folks. Lead a car. They'll certainly work with you. No question about it. Barnes Diamond Gallery. Thank you, Lisa. Lane Associates Family Dentistry, Doctors Tommy and Kim Morgan. Bartley Insurance Services, Bill Mercer, Drew Mercer, and Tommy Duff, and the folks over at Hunt for Heating and Air Conditioning. Thank you so much. And once again, we're getting ready to dive on them Billy Bowls from Helen's Kitchen. Thank you, Billy Grissom, for feeding the sports talk show and our guest. Hurricane Watch powered by Down East Heating and Air, Jason Humphrey. And once again, Onslow County Motor Company, Ben, sponsors our racing report. We certainly appreciate your knowledge on that, buddy. We really do. What else?
And once again, if you can't come out to the Ospreys game tomorrow, we'll be on the air. First pitch around 7 p.m. tomorrow. They're at the Osprey Nest. If you can come to the game, they've hooked it up with the military. They have an Osprey flyover, probably a covey of those Ospreys flying over. It's funny during the game. You have them all during the game anyway. Because it's just a flight line. But it's a great atmosphere out there. A great time for some collegiate league, summer league baseball. Come out and check us out, or listen on WSME tomorrow night. And that's all I got, unless you guys.
National Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram, Golden Corral, and Bob Warlick, the office of John Drew Warlick, are sponsoring that game tomorrow night. So thank you, guys.
A good time will be had by all.
Yep.
All right. We will see you next Friday on Sports Talk.